Let me identify just a few things about my background that will help you make that decision. In 1998 and 9, it was possible in this state for an employer to fire somebody for grotesque misconduct and have that person come back on the employer for unemployment compensation benefits. Our unemployment compensation system was dysfunctional to the point of corruptness. I rewrote that law and participated in overhauling it completely, and today we have one of the strongest unemployment compensation systems in the United States, rated by independent evaluators. We are one of the few states in the Union right now, in the throes of this recession, who are not having to borrow money from the federal government to sustain our unemployment compensation system. We have $360 million on deposit in that system today, and it was largely because of my efforts in the late 90s. In 2003, this governor, when he was brand new, decided to solve a temporary budget problem by selling off the state liquor business to some people that were helpful to him in the election, although it was an open bid process. And he wanted to raise $125 million by selling a $25 million annual stream of revenue that the state used to receive for the sale of alcohol. I thought it was a bad deal. I thought it was a temporary solution to a small problem, and it was a crime to force our children to pay for our bills. I was on the Appropriations Committee, and those who were present in those deliberations know that I was the person responsible for stopping that deal and making sure that that stream of revenue would return to the state. We actually wound up selling it for 10 years, not forever. In 2005, he tried to solve another larger budget crisis by borrowing $447 million without public approval, by selling off the lottery proceeds for 14 years. I was so furious that I went down to the Secretary of State's office, wrote out by hand a people's veto petition, got 4 or 5 of my friends to sign it and co-sign it with me. We launched a campaign. We raised and spent $94,000 on it. We got about 40,000 signatures before the Democrats caved, wrote a new budget, eradicated the borrowing, and presented the people of Maine with a properly balanced budget. More recently, in 2008, the public employees and the teachers came forward with a proposal to increase their pension benefits. This is right at the beginning of this recession, just as it was just before it was beginning, and said, oh, don't worry about paying for these benefits because the pension system has money on deposit to pay for these benefits. I wrote a report that exposed it as a $300 million cost to Maine taxpayers over the next 20 years. The effort was stopped by one vote on the Appropriations Committee. They were so furious with me that they wrote a letter to every single retiree, public retiree in my district, to every single teacher, every single state employee, telling them all how despicable I was and how I did not deserve their support in any future elections. In the fall of 2008, 8 months later, I got a 64.5% vote margin out of Somerset County. I ran stronger than any other Republican senator who got elected last year, a year and a half ago, and I ran ahead of Obama and ahead of Senator Sue Collins in my own district. So I know something about winning general elections. I have been nose to nose with Democrats. I've been nose to nose with John Martin, John Richardson, Steve Rowe, Libby Mitchell, and I've landed a few blows. Is this the time when you want to trust this job to an amateur? Because I'm telling you right now, there's nobody else running on the Republican side of this thing who has any experience that can compare with what I've had to do. That's the truth. So if you'd like to win this election, give me a shot at it. All the major newspapers in Maine 4 years ago said that if you'd given me the nomination last time, that I would have been governor for the last 4 years. And already by now, we would have lowered the Maine capital gains tax. We would have reformed education to make it more accountable. We would have simplified governmental regulations, not to soften them, but to make them clearer. we would have achieved so many things in the past 4 years. So there I am. I'm a middleweight, but I got long arms and no Democrat can land an inside punch. Put me in the ring and I will do you proud. Thank you very much. That's the end of the story.